So let's talk about For Honor. This is one of those games that I've been looking forward to simply because it looked unique. I enjoy games and movies set during this time period. Plus, it's a brand new IP, which is always a big gamble with these studios. And a lot of time, we don't see new IPs. We just see rehashes of the same old stuff. So this is something new and fresh. But now that it's out, how well does the game hold up, and will this pay off for Ubisoft? So I put several hours into the beta, and I've also put several hours into the full game. So let's talk about what I liked and what I didn't like. We'll start off with what I liked. This is a game that is pretty easy to pick up and play. And a lot of people are going to assume that it means that this is just a game for casuals, because people like to use that term, because you can block or attack from 3 different angles, left, right, or from the top. You have a light attack and you have a heavy attack. So those are the main components, which sounds very simplistic. But the more that I played this, the more I realized how there's going to be a big skill gap between the players, because this is going to be one of those games that's easy to pick up but hard to master. Whenever you add in blocking and breaking people's guards, dodging, parrying, chaining together attacks, because every character has their own set of attacks. Plus the fact that every character just simply plays different. Every character has different styles, different abilities and unlocks and so on. So you realize after playing it a while that the deeper you go, it's a more complicated game than what it may seem like on the very top of it. But thankfully, the game does do a pretty good job as far as the tutorials go to try to teach you the different techniques in battle. They've got regular tutorials that they start you out with, but also if you play through the single-player campaign, it's pretty much just one big, huge tutorial as well, which I am glad, and this is one of the things that I like, that this game did put in a campaign, because we're seeing a lot of these games that are multiplayer focused nowadays that don't have it. So this story is in the game, and it doesn't look like one that was just simply thrown in. I mean, it does look like they took a little bit of time with it, but it's not going to win any awards. Like, I wouldn't buy this game just for the campaign. It's going to take you only 5 to 10 hours to maybe play through. You get to try different characters, and it kind of sort of tries to explain why you're murdering everybody. But I mean, it's not the greatest campaign in the world. But if you do turn up the difficulty level, it can be a little bit challenging at times. But no doubt, the main focus of this game is multiplayer. And so there's 3 different factions that you can currently choose from. They'll probably add some more later, but currently you got the Knights, the Vikings, and the Samurais. One thing that I really like, and this is something that's really simple that should be implemented, I think, into a lot of games, is they've got the persistent war that was similar to what End War did from Ubisoft. And so it makes you feel like you're part of this larger battle, because you can go and try to fight for certain territories. So like there's a game within a game, sort of speaking. And it's not as compelling as what End Wars was, I don't believe, because you can still play as different factions. It's just, you know, something else added on there. But I do wish this would be something that a lot of other games would include, because it does make you feel like you're part of this larger battle that's going on. And then this whole persistent war thing, they're going to go on for certain days or weeks or months, and then at the end of it, they're going to give you, you know, certain loot for people who participated. So it's simple, but it's a really nice addition. There's a few different game modes, but really they're just different variations of deathmatch and domination game modes with different people. So you can go play 1v1 or 4v4 versus AI or other real people. But there's not a whole lot of variability when it comes to the game modes. I do like the fact that you can play against AI or real people. Some people just really freak out, don't want anything to do with multiplayer. They don't like playing against other people. And so they can still enjoy this game and still partake in this persistent war, even though they're not fighting against real actual people. Now on to the things that I didn't like. So for a AAA game in 2017, really disappointed that this game does not have dedicated servers. It's peer-to-peer, and they make you stay connected to the internet even if you're playing single player. But the dedicated servers is really a big knockoff for me, because anytime you're playing peer-to-peer, there's always a chance that the host can have a slight advantage. And whenever you're talking about a game where, seconds really matter, you can start a heavy attack and then cancel it midway and then come in from an opposite direction. Like, this is a fast-paced game, and if anybody has some sort of advantage, that's really a big turnoff for me. But the biggest thing for me about this no dedicated server is I played a lot of games where somebody would leave the match or the game disconnected and you got to wait for the server to match back up and configure itself. It's pretty annoying. Another thing that I didn't care for is it seems like you got to grind a lot in this game to buy certain outfits and executions. And even the executions that I saw that you could purchase, it just seemed pretty limited. Like, I'm sure that they'll add, more later on, but right now you can only choose between two different executions if you haven't purchased any, and that novelty wears off really quickly. After you've used the same one 5 or 6 times, like, you want to see something different. And right now you can purchase a couple of different ones, but like with the in-game currency or real currency, but like you have to play a lot in order to have the money to unlock those. And again, it just feels like there should be a few more characters and variety. Like, it doesn't feel like there's enough of that. So wrapping things up, I think the fighting mechanics are really good, especially for a game like this. Like, it takes some characteristics of slashers like Dark Souls, where you've got to have skill, you got to have strategy, timing, combos, counters. It also mixes in some features from regular fighting games as well that you're familiar with. But the biggest concern that I have for this game is how repetitive it is. And I just can't see myself playing this long term in its current state. I've had fun with the time that I've put into it, but after playing all the game modes, after playing, several different characters, I've tried out every single game mode. I've played a good bit of the campaign. I'm already at the point where I'm just ready to move on to something else. I don't know that, everybody's going to feel that way, but I have a feeling a lot of people would. And so if you like strategy, if you like close combat sort of games like Dark Souls, then this is something that I would definitely suggest that you try out. I'm just not sure that I would jump on board right now. I would probably suggest that you wait for a price drop or go rent it. I just don't see this as something that a lot of people are going to sink a lot of time in at the moment in its current state. If you played For Honor, whether it be the beta or the regular game, post your thoughts down below. Also, I do want to point out that Ubisoft did give me this copy of the game just to show off the game for you. They didn't tell me what to say, what not to say. They just gave me a copy of the game and let me do with it as I please. So I want to thank them for giving me the opportunity to play it, to try it out, and to show you all how it goes. So that does it for me, The Red Dragon. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Are you listening? Damn. Yeah.